Welcome to Impact the World, a podcast from West Park Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is where we discuss topics related to how we can all love God, love people, and impact the world. Here's your host, Tara Hayes.
Hey everybody, I'm your host, Tara Hayes, and I'm excited to sit down with my really good friend. I feel like I say that all the time, but I have the privilege of working with amazing people, but Lisa is a good friend of mine. Lisa Newsome, a lot of you know her. Hey, Lisa.
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm excited for you to be here. We've got a lot of great things, some hard things to talk about. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who might not know, Lisa has been on our staff previously in several different roles.
Yes.
So that's why so many people know you, because you've served in some pretty big ways at West Park. Touched a lot of families. But you're currently serving with CedarBrook Outreach.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so I want to, for those who might not know you or to fully understand your role, I want to talk about that today.
Okay.
And I want to hear more about CedarBrook, because I think people don't fully understand all of the things that are happening at CedarBrook. Mm-hmm. God's doing amazing things. Amazing things. We're going to talk about some hard things.
Yes.
But God is doing great things. So I want to talk about kind of just the CedarBrook outreaches and the different ways that you all minister within our community.
Sure.
And kind of your role in that. And then I just want you to share some stories of the way that God is working, because you've told me a little bit about some of these and they're so exciting. I thought we've got to get this on a podcast and talk about it. People need to know. So I'm glad that you could sit down with me today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, because, it's one thing to get up in front of the church and give a short update, but there's so much happening. You just can't. I mean, it would take like a whole family gathering or something to be able to tell all the stories that's going on. So I appreciate this opportunity for people just to be able to know and hear what God is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're just privileged to be a part of it.
Wow. Well, it's exciting. How many years have we had CedarBrook now?
Since 2018.
Okay.
And I've always, for the most part, volunteered, especially when it was first, conceived.
Yeah.
I've volunteered. So I've known a lot of these folks since then, but I've been on staff now at CedarBrook for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And literally I see God doing amazing things every week. Every week. I mean, I've got stories every week.
Well, I know a lot of times when you happen to be on my hall, you're like, you're not going to believe what happened. Or, I can just tell you're excited and God's doing good things. So first kind of explain to me some of the outreaches that CedarBrook has, and then we'll talk about your role.
Okay. Well, CedarBrook Outreach exists to reach at-risk families and children with the gospel of Jesus Christ, right here in our West Knoxville area. When CedarBrook was conceived, we did a demographic, went out a 2-mile radius from West Park, and found out that we had some communities that were at risk. And at risk meaning that they're at risk of kids dropping out of school, early pregnancies, malnutrition, drug abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. We see all of those things in our communities. They're at risk of not graduating from high school, from not being educated. So lots of things that they're at risk of, but most importantly, they're at risk of never knowing Jesus.
Wow. Yeah. That is the biggest risk.
It is the biggest risk.
But I think it's important to highlight that, explain what at risk is, because I think, especially if you've lived in West Knoxville like all your life, you've been here a long time, it's hard to realize that, hey, like this is stuff that is happening every day in our community.
Absolutely.
Community is changing.
Yes.
A lot. And so there is a lot of opportunity for ministry and to share the gospel.
Absolutely.
Because I know Pastor Sam often talks about the number of unchurched people just in our area.
Yes.
And we assume, because if you know anything about Middlebrook Pike, feels like 9 million churches within like a 2-mile radius. But that does not mean that everyone is churched or knows Jesus.
Absolutely. And the thing that I love about, one of the things that I love about CedarBrook is that we go to where they are. We meet them where they are. so many of our residents don't have transportation, can't get to particular programs or church. So we take the church to them.
That's exciting.
We go out there and minister to them. And so we're in 4 communities, and it's really neat. If you know my background, it's in missions. And so, and I love culture. I've
Yes.
always loved culture. And all 4 of our communities are a completely different culture. You can go to one and it's completely different than the other. And so
All within this little part of town.
exactly
Really.
within 2 miles from here.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're all different. So, we've got a community that's seems to be primarily drug addicted. There's a lot of drugs addiction in that particular community. There's poverty, generational poverty in that community. Well over 50% of a child's, one of their parents, usually the father, is incarcerated. We go from that to a community that's made up of probably 80% of Hispanics. And so working folks, but don't know Jesus or the language a lot of times, and so
most of them don't speak much English.
Exactly. So we're trying to do some English classes there. We also have a community that is still considered Section 8, but they're the working poor, and we see a lot of people who are trying to make ends meet. And in that community, we probably have 40 to 50% Arabic folks.
Wow.
And so that's a unique ministry there as well. And then our last community is completely international. It's again, a working blue collar type area that folks have come here from all over the world, from Morocco, Jordan, Honduras, Mexico, Indonesia, Micronesia.
Wow.
We've got islanders. Literally,
Wow.
I mean, just about any place you could think of, they're coming there. And so it's a really unique,
Like a little
place.
melting pot right here in West
Absolutely.
Knoxville.
Yes. And what I love seeing about that particular community is, the Hispanics and the Arabics are mingling together.
That's awesome.
Which is great. I've got a little story with that, if I can go ahead and tell that. Recently, I had a lot of the ladies from that area come to my home, because a lot of internationals have never been invited into an American home. And so they came and brought their kids, and we had close to 20 people in my house. And like I said, it was Hispanics and Arabics and Americans, me and Allison, and hosted them for dinner and had halal food and
How fun.
Hispanic food. I was trying to make sure I was loving on my people
Hit all the
well.
nations.
Exactly. And everybody's talking. Everybody, some people don't speak English, but there was at least a person there that could translate in English for them, so that we were all talking, we're all hugging. And it was just a really neat thing to see, because normally I don't know that I would have asked both of those people to come together, but because of the pantry and because of events that we've had there, we've all become friends.
That's awesome.
And so it's so wonderful. I mean, I just love it. I mean,
awesome.
it just filled my
It's
heart.
a little picture of heaven.
It is.
I
a
mean, when
picture
you
of
think
heaven.
about it.
Exactly. And my heart was just overflowing after that night.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we go into these communities, and I look at it sort of like a funnel. I know a lot of people use that analogy, but we go in with food pantries. Because if we came in there and said, "Hey, we are a faith-based nonprofit and we want to share Jesus," they're not going to let us come in.
They're not even come out the door.
They're going to be like, "Yeah, we're good." So we come in and meet a physical need first, so that we can build bridges that can bear the weight of truth.
Yeah.
And
I love that phrase.
I love that phrase. I love it because
very
it's
applicable.
So
It's perfect.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we go in with food pantries to get to know people, meet that need, and start building relationships. And then from there, we go to having ESL classes, or ELL now, or a ladies of craft night, or a game night type of thing, just to, again, to get to know people, to build bridges. And then from there, we go into having, inviting them to Bible studies that we have going on in several of our communities. And then from there, just connecting with people one-on-one and doing some one-on-one discipleship and mentoring. And so that's the goal. That's the goal, is to be able to mentor and be in one-on-one discipleships that lead them to Christ, and ultimately plugging them into a good church that we partner with, because we partner with some really great churches here in the CedarBrook area.
You've built a really good network.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Yes.
I love to see that, the community aspect
Absolutely.
of a body of believers,
Yes, because that's what heaven's going to look like too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we're going to, not just be up there with Baptists.
What?
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
It's fantastic.
So it's awesome, as long as they are, Bible believing, Jesus is the only way.
Right.
Church. We're partnering with
That's
them.
exciting.
Yeah, so it's great.
Wow. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot
So
going on.
what does your typical week? I know there's not a typical week. I mean, that's funny when people ask me that about my job. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't exist. But
right.
in an ideal world,
Sure.
where
What does that
things
look
go
like?
as they should,
Yeah.
what would that look like?
Sure. So we're in 4 communities. So we have 4 food pantries a week. We normally attend 3 of those. We have a church partner that does one of those, that they're really getting deep into that community. So I go to 3 food pantries each week and deliver food to shut-ins,
Wow.
develop relationships with them, get to know people through the food pantries. We also have 2 Bible studies that I'm a part of. I'm a recruiter, and
Yes,
so
you are.
Yeah, and so I've recruited, hopefully, several people that have just been amazing and dedicated to teaching God's word, and I just assist them in that. And so we've got 2 Bible studies going on, ladies' Bible studies going on in 2 of our communities. Also, Jack Underwood, our executive director, he's got 2 or 3 men's Bible studies going on in communities as well. So I go to those during the day, and then we also have 2 kids Bible clubs that's going on in 2 different communities.
Yes.
And so I'm a part of that, and
And my
just
husband
seeing,
does that. He loves it so much.
He does, and I've got a story later for that one too. But we're seeing, anybody can change when they have accepted Christ and let Him transform them. But when you're dealing with habitual habits, generational poverty, those kinds of things, really the change is going to come through the kids.
Yeah.
And so we're really, really focused and dedicated on trying to minister to them. And we have a mentoring program that they can come to, a group mentoring where they learn STEM, math, science, art, different things like that. But also people can do one-on-one mentoring. Allison oversees that ministry for us. And that's where the gospel conversations happen, is with these one-on-one mentoring. Also, through the week, we have ESL classes in 2 of our communities, and Allison and I oversee one of those every Monday night. And again, like I said, we've got different nationalities there, and it's a great time of friendship, but there's also been great times of faith conversations. We get to tell them about our faith, and they get to tell us about theirs. So that's been interesting too.
I think people are more open to talking about what they believe than we think.
Absolutely. And they're interested in knowing what Christianity
What
is.
makes us, why is ours different than
Why is
theirs?
ours different?
Yeah.
Yes. And it also helps them learn about our culture,
Yeah.
Especially in a body of believers, what that looks like. And then also in between all that, Allison and I, we do pretty much everything together. I mean, she's the best. And so we're getting ready for fundraisers. We're planning annual breakfasts that we have every year. We're doing a calendar this year that we're going to get out to folks of ways to pray for us and events and things like that are coming up. We're giving tours of our ministry to folks.
That's kind of a new thing, isn't it?
It is.
I wanted you to
is.
talk about that.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that now?
Sure.
Okay. So I think that the best way that we've been able to show people what CedarBrook is doing is through a tour. And we have had the privilege of taking several groups of people out for, it takes about an hour, hour and a half to go to all 4 of our neighborhoods and us talk about what's going on in those neighborhoods for people to see. And so be looking in the bulletin at West Park, because we're going to offer that soon. They're going to be small, so there may be more often tours happening.
You can't take big groups on that.
Exactly. And so you can sign up and come out with us and take a tour of all the neighborhoods and just see what God's doing and see if there's some place that you want to plug into. And what I love too about CedarBrook is we just want you to come and try it. And if it's not something that you feel like, this just doesn't fit what I feel like God's gifted me to do or wants me to do, that's okay. We just want you to come and try it, be a part of it, and see if it's something that you enjoy doing. And so it's kind of a trial type of thing. So we will have some of those tours, but we've really been able to kind of get our mission out there of what we're doing those tours. And so we do those types of things. We're in the middle of Thanksgiving box collection. Yeah, we're picking up some boxes today.
Getting ready for Christmas.
Getting ready for Christmas.
It's a big part of the year.
It is a big part of the year. We also are getting ready for ladies events that we do, craft events that we do. We're hoping to do a cooking class so that people can know how to cook the food that's in our pantry.
Yeah.
And so,
because a lot of these things that we consider as staples, things that would be easy for us to prepare, are like, they're not familiar with it at all. What can be done, how to do it.
Yeah, how to season it, how to make it taste better.
Yeah,
those types of things. And so, we're looking at doing that just to help, make the food go longer, make it be something that's more palatable. And with the SNAP situation, the food stamp situation right now, we really need to show them how to cook and store food, freeze food, how to make leftovers a little bit. Yeah,
what they have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's kind of a typical week.
It's full. I know. Full. Every time I see you, we kind of joke. You always say, "My hair's on fire." I mean, because you're,
exactly.
But because you're always running, it feels like, from one place to the next, but there's just a lot to be done.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
And it's fun.
And our staff is small.
Yeah.
Our staff, we're a 4-person staff.
I was going to say, tell everybody the staff.
Jack Underwood's our executive director, and he is he loves people.
Yeah.
And so he's out in the community ministering to men. But he's also trying to fundraise and cast vision and partner with churches.
All of you guys wear a lot of hats.
We do. Allison and I do almost everything together, except the group mentoring, and it's just because I'm old and those kids want younger people. No, but they like older people too. But we are out in the community. We need to be together for safety reasons. We're 2 women. I don't worry about me as much as I worry about her. But
there are so many things I could say about those street smarts.
Yeah.
Then there's just sweet Allison.
Exactly. Leave my sweet girl alone. But I would say that we have different titles, but we're a community. That's what we are. We're in the community, and doing, whatever we need to do administratively, with fundraising and things like that. And then Kendra is our administrative assistant, and I say she handles the F's. She handles finances, furniture, and food. And so she gets our food pantries ready. She handles the finances that come in. And then right now the furniture ministry, getting that, all those things
organized. That's an animal right
there. Exactly. Really, all 3 of those are kind of
animals. None of those are lightweights.
Exactly. So we kind of got our roles, but we all help each other.
Yeah. It's a great team. Yeah, you guys have got a great team.
We do, and we've got great volunteers. I would say we've got somewhere around 75, committed every week volunteers that help us get things done.
That's exciting.
Yeah. but we can always use more. I always have to
Don't
say
hear that as
Don't
we
hear
have
that as we
enough.
Exactly. Exactly.
You didn't hear that here. Well, I think the thing that would really encourage people to volunteer is to hear some about what God is doing.
Yes.
And so that's kind of the two reasons I wanted to have you on is just to give that great overview of CedarBrook, but really just to hear, because you've shared some stuff with me lately that has just
That's been
literally brought
amazing.
tears to my eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But so just share away. Tell us all the
All
things.
right. I've got lots of stories. So, buckle up, I guess.
Get ready, kids.
Get ready. Yeah. So I'll start off with the hard, all of them are hard to a certain extent, but God is in them and we see God in them. But for instance, just yesterday, in one of our communities, we were, breaking up a fight between two kids. We've got some men out there that help us, and I don't want to say these things to scare people from volunteering with us.
Right.
These are long-term people who have been with us. We would not expect you to break up a fight. This is
That's not going to be your first week volunteering.
no, not at all. And
No.
your husband's out there. He's not had to do that.
No, he hasn't broken up any fight.
Yeah. So we've got kind of a core group of people that help us in some of the harder things that we need to do.
But I think it's important for people to know, like, again, this is our community.
It is.
This is the
It
reality
is.
of what's happening.
Exactly. And I don't feel unsafe. And they love us. Our communities love CedarBrook Outreach and not only what we do for them, but the relationships that we have. So I don't, we don't see gun violence. We don't, that kind of thing. It's usually just violence either behind closed doors or with each other.
Each other, right.
Sometimes we
Not
can,
aimed at you.
Yeah, not aimed at us at all. But we saw, they fight on the bus and they get off the bus and they're still fighting and we're like, walk away and, those kinds of things. We've also seen, yesterday we were hearing about some sexual abuse that we didn't know had been going on. And mom's on top of it. Mom's getting sole custody in the court system and we're supporting mom and doing that. But we just didn't know that these kids that we minister to every week had gone through that.
Yeah.
And that was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
That is.
We also had a boy who came to our Bible club who we feel like was high because the people that he lives with, his mom and other people that live there, smoke so much marijuana that he gets high off the secondhand smoke of that.
Wow.
And so it's sad. It's very, very sad. And so and then we also had a young man that's in our ministry that attempted suicide. And so we see a lot of hard things, a lot of heavy things. That was just
one day.
Yeah, that was just one day of the things that we saw. So, and not every community has that. We've got harder communities than others, but those are some things that we see, and it can be discouraging, but at the same time, it gives me a sense of urgency that they need Jesus.
We've got to keep doing.
We've got to keep doing this.
Yeah.
We've got to. It's a dark place, and the only hope they have is Jesus.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to take it there, and that's what I've been called to do. Feel like I'm called to do, but we always need help doing it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So let me go into a few of our stories that can be hard, but also we're seeing God in them. So there's this one family that I've been getting to know through their daughter, who I just love, and she's in middle school, and I've gotten to know the dad, and so through that relationship that we're building, I found out that the mom has lots and lots of health issues, and isn't able to work because there's not just one health issue, but several, multiple. Yeah. Dad has some health issues too, but the sweetest soul that you'll ever meet. And they are married and have 2 kids, and the youngest is severely autistic. And
It's
so
just a lot
it's a
happening in
lot.
this one family.
Exactly. And Dad right now has been having to take care of Mom because she's been in and out of the hospital, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times this year
Wow.
already. And so really struggling. These folks are
Wow.
really
Yeah.
struggling. And so I've been able to give them some rides because in one of our communities, transportation is a huge
Yeah.
issue. Even just to get her to the hospital was a huge issue to try to
Wow.
get her there, type of thing. And so, so in these car rides though, I get to know people on a so much deeper level.
Yeah.
They're opening up.
They're
Telling me their
trapped. You
story.
have to-
They're trapped. You're with me.
You get to have a conversation with me whether you
And I
want to
like
or
to
not.
talk. So yeah, here we go. But it's been amazing because at this point, we're able to. I mean, he's like, I'll take their daughter with another couple other kids, and we'll go to McDonald's and get an ice cream and just talk. And he totally, there's trust built there,
Right.
There's trust built there, and through our conversations and things, he's taking some of our suggestions, putting his son into school. He was homeschooling, which is really tough.
Wow, that's hard when you have
Yeah.
all of that going on.
All of that going on, and so he's really trusted our advice and things like that. Well, with this particular family, CBO staff was sitting just in the office, and all of a sudden, somebody in our housekeeping brings a gentleman back to our offices, and it happens to be this man, and I'll call him David, and David was like, "Oh, hey, I know these people," and we're like, "Hey, we know you too.
Hey, how are you here?
And
What's
so,
happening?
I say coincidence
Right.
in quotes because nothing is a coincidence.
With a smirk, because we all
Exactly.
know.
Well, he had been up and down Middlebrook to different churches, just desperate for some help. He had had his electricity turned off.
Oh, wow.
And so that meant no internet and school for his child. That meant, the food that he had just gotten from the pantry the day before was going to go bad.
spoil.
I think his wife has some equipment in the apartment that helps her with some of her medical conditions
wow.
that need that. So, I mean, he was desperate. He had come into West Park literally sobbing and wanted help. And so one of our housekeeping folks saw him and said, let's go back to CedarBrook. Let's see. He had no idea he was connected to CedarBrook. So he brings this gentleman back there, and he, again, is crying and asking for help. And, we don't have any money. So
Right.
we could use your support.
We're
But
constantly raising money.
exactly, yeah. But we're not a church. We're not. We don't
Right.
have a
You don't have
benevolence.
right. You
We
don't have the line
funds
item for that. Right.
Exactly. But we love this man and his family, and they're not.
And
They're
the
not
key
on
is you have
drugs,
relationship.
and we
with
have
them.
relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, so we were trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Some of the resources we have had told us that they were out of money, where we send people for resources. And so we were like, we don't know what we're going to do. What are we going to do? And so, in making a long story short, Jack said, I've got an idea. So he goes to his house. He comes back, and he says, okay, David, I just need to tell you that we don't have funds for this. This is not what we do. We don't give out money because we don't have it. But I had taken somebody on a tour not too long ago, and they gave me some money and said, hold on to this, and if God shows you a need, you'll have it. Well, he needed $360 to get his lights turned back on, and it was $400.
That's awesome.
Literally, he started sobbing, and he was like, and Jack said, this is not from CBO. This is from God.
Right.
God knew that this was going to happen, that you were going to be in this situation, and this is from him. But, and I love this about Jack. He said, but I want you to go back and do a few things. One, I want you to tell your family that this is from God.
Yes.
Number two, I don't want you to ever ask for money again because we don't have it. And I don't want you to find yourself in this situation again. You knew this was coming up, and he was very kind, but he was also like, you've got to do something.
Yeah.
We've
got to figure this out.
We've got to figure this out because you're gonna come into this again next month,
Right.
if we don't do something different. And so Alice and I took him right then and got his lights turned back on, and he has been so thankful,
Wow.
thankful. And like I said, this family, they're a family unit. They're doing the best they can. They've got a lot of things going against them. But to be able to show Jesus in that way. And I'm actually hopefully going to be able to start bringing his daughter to church with us until they can kind of get on their feet and get a car and come themselves, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that one's a pretty awesome one too. And then I have another friend, and I'll call her Susie. I love Susie. Susie's close to my age and just a fairly new believer. She grew up Catholic, but is just soaking up everything of the Lord. And Susie's got a hard background. She's been abused by a husband to the point that he's in jail, her ex-husband at this point, and she has long-lasting disabilities from it. So
That's
she was
sad.
Yeah, she was stabbed multiple times, and just has nerve damage and things like that she deals with. But Susie's got a big heart. And Susie, about a year ago, took in her elementary second cousins, because the mom, who was her cousin, was addicted to drugs and had recently married a man that was abusing them, physically abusing them. And so DCS gave her custody of the kids. They were in our Bible club program. They came to West Park with me many, many times. And the kids, I really felt like one of the kids was on the verge of accepting Christ. I mean, you could just tell that he was just being led to Christ. Christ was drawing him to himself. And so she doesn't have transportation, and that was a lot for her to take two kids in, for somebody in their 50s. And she, I was mentoring her in parenting, because she had parented a certain way and needed some help in that.
Probably be best to change up those parenting habits.
Exactly, especially with foster kids. I mean, you've got to do things differently. She was leaning into that, doing everything I was suggesting for her to do, and she was seeing results from it, so it was really great. And so she said, "Hey, can you take me to court? Because I think this is when I'm either getting child support or like custody, not just foster care, but custody." And I was like, "Oh, absolutely." And she said, "Plus, I just want some moral support." And I was like, "Absolutely, I'll go with you and I'll take." So she said they want me to bring the kids, and I said, "Okay." Well, she had gotten the kids all dressed up. They looked great, beautiful, Sunday best type of thing. And so we go down to family court. I'd never been to family court before. And so we're in there, and their mom and stepdad come in, and literally they ran up to Susie and was like, "We're so scared. Please don't make us go with them. We don't want it. We're scared of him." I mean, they were in tears, and it broke my heart. And she was like, "Don't worry. You're going to be with me. I'm not going to let you go back to them. It's going to be fine." So they call us into court, and they asked me who I was. I told them that I was just support there for her. And then the judge looks over at Susie and says, even though the kids are in the care of foster care, the mom still has rights. And basically, she doesn't want those kids living with you because there's animosity between the two,
The cousins.
the adult cousins. And they took those kids from her and put them in a home that
They didn't
even know.
anybody.
I'm here to tell you that was one of the most devastating things in ministry I've ever gone through.
That's heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. And they didn't, and the kids weren't in there, and they didn't even let us say goodbye. To this day, I don't know where they are, and they don't know that Susie wanted to have them. They still don't know that.
Oh.
And I kept thinking, I can't leave. We can't leave. Susie, we can't leave. Like, we came here with two kids and we're leaving with none.
What is happening?
What is happening? What is happening? So we've been walking with, she had them almost a year.
Oh.
So, we've been walking with her through that, because that's been, very traumatizing and devastating for her. But the good news is, just recently we found out that because, unfortunately, mom is not working a parenting plan, that in April is another
Court
hearing.
hearing.
And if mom's not done what she's supposed to, Susie may have a chance to get
The kids
the
back.
kids back.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're praying about that.
Yeah.
So we're praying about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, so that was really, you know,
Oh.
I was so invested in that.
Yeah.
And then both with the kids and Susie that, it was really, really tough, but we're seeing God working. And we're just praying that's going to be a possibility.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Very hard.
Very hard.
Very hard. And this is probably one of the most touching things too, I think, that I've been through. So we're in Kids Bible Club, and you know about this one because Matthew was there, and he was such a great encourager to me when this happened. But you know, I have had the privilege of being in ministry a long, long time. Even before I came to West Park at the little church I grew up in. So I've probably been in ministry 30, 35 years. And most of that time has been with kids. I mean, that's kind of, you know, either missions and kids are kind of the two things that God's given me a heart for. And so in Bible Club, we had a new teacher, somebody that was teaching. She'd been coming out there for a while, great lady from one of our partner churches, but it was her first time teaching out there. And so, you know, I'd been praying for her and encouraging her. And so when she came in, she was like, Lisa, I thought my lesson was going to be longer, but it's going to be kind of short. And I said, that's fine. No problem. You know,
No worries.
no worries.
We're
It's
here
your
to
first
encourage
time.
you.
Exactly. And they're going to get, you know, a message out of it, whether it's short or long. So she gets up there and she starts teaching. Well, I'm sitting in the back and just enjoying, you know, what she's teaching. And all of a sudden, I feel like the Holy Spirit is saying, share your testimony. Well, I'm going to be real upfront with you and honest, because that's what I am. I'm just an open book. I was like, no, Lord,
She's teaching.
I've got a casserole that I need to go put in the oven that takes an hour, and we're getting out of here early today. I don't need to share my testimony today. I'm just telling you, this is what I did.
I got a casserole.
I got a casserole. Come on now, you know this,
Come
Lord.
on.
You know this. So, so she keeps teaching, and I'm sitting back there, and again, I feel like the Holy Spirit's saying, "Share your testimony," and I was like, "Come on, Lord." This woman, I, you know, I'm a big personality. I've been told. I know I can be a lot. I understand. And I didn't want to showboat her. You know,
Right.
I didn't want her to feel like,
Oh, I didn't
do enough.
good enough.
Yeah. So now
Lisa has
Lisa's
to
up
fix
here.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did not want her to feel that way because
Yeah.
she did a fantastic job.
Right.
And the kids love her. And I thought, no, Lord, I don't want this to be about me getting up there and making it right or whatever the thought might be.
Let me show you how this is really done.
Exactly. That was not what I wanted. And so I was like, no, Lord, no. Hear it again. Share your testimony. Oh. Well, okay. Third time. I can't say no a third time.
No.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know what this has to do with what she's teaching, but all right, I'll get up there and share my testimony. Now, here's the thing. I'm 58 years old. Yes, I've had a lot of experience in ministry, but I'm somebody who has to plan.
Yes, you are a planner. I do know this about you.
I have to have all my notes written out.
Mm-hmm.
I have had to study even my testimony. I just have to make sure that, because I don't have a great memory when it comes to just recall. You know, I can remember things that happened to me.
Yeah.
Like a testimony is pretty easy to remember, but I don't know. I still have to prepare.
I get it.
I got to pray ahead. I've got to have my notes. So this is
out of your comfort zone.
It's out of my comfort zone. Exactly. So I was like, okay. So she finishes. I go up. And when I tell you that I have never, ever experienced the Holy Spirit in the way that I did that day, it's not a lie. I mean, I have never, ever experienced this before.
That's so awesome.
And I've had the privilege again of leading kids to the Lord and sharing the gospel. But I you know, the
It's crazy what
it's
happens
crazy.
when you're obedient.
It is
Just
crazy.
gonna put that out there.
Or when you're finally obedient. He's going to put me in the back of the line when I get to heaven. He's going to say, "I got some extra things to talk to you about."
We need to have a chit chat.
Yeah, exactly. But so I get up there and I start my testimony, and I kid you not, I don't remember like the next 10 minutes. I had to ask Allison afterwards, did I finish my testimony? I can't even remember. But I went into a full, what I would say, a gospel presentation. And I've done this before, but again, I'm usually
You were prepared.
And if you're familiar with like a bridge track, I try to take them through, creation and then the fall and how that separated us from God.
Yeah.
And now we're separated and God doesn't allow sin into heaven. And so we've all got a problem, type of thing. And so what are we going to do about this problem? So I go all the way through about how, my mama goes to church, my granny goes to church, so I must be okay. Nope. That doesn't do it. Or I'm nice to other people. I do good things. I'm not as bad as a person down the street.
Somebody else.
Nope, that doesn't get you to heaven. It's a relationship with Christ. Christ is the only way, and and He came and died for us, and our trust and has to be in Him. And so that's the only bridge that bridges us from life to death to life again.
Yeah.
And because you are going to be in one place or another, and it's a choice.
It is a choice,
and it's pretty black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, it's heaven or hell.
Right.
And so went through that evidently because I don't remember it all, and ended my testimony because I was their age when I came to know Christ. I was 9 years old, and so I said, okay, let's just pray, because I thought this hopefully some of the kids will pray, or this will resonate, or they'll ask questions. So I pray with them, and before I could even hardly say amen, and before I even got my eyes open, this kid, I'll call him John, literally jumps on me.
Oh my.
And is hugging me and embracing me. And now I got to tell you about this kid. I hate to say it, but he's kind of the rough one in the neighborhood. He bullies a lot, gets in trouble a lot, has to ride a special bus because of the fights that he gets in on the school bus.
He's not the soft-hearted,
sweet kid. We've seen a little bit here and there, but most of the time not. Like, he was cussing somebody out before we even came into Bible club that day. So this kid's on me, sobbing. And I don't mean crying. I mean sobbing, like the chest.
Heaving.
Yeah, heaving. One of the other kids stood up and said to Allison, Miss Allison, he's crying. Because you could have heard literally an ant crawling on the floor. It was so quiet in there.
Wow.
So she got all the kids and got them up, got them out of gave them their food and had them leave. This kid's still hanging on to me. The whole time he's holding me, he probably said it 50 times. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Whew. At that point, all the leaders are crying. I'm crying.
I'm crying again. I've heard this.
Yeah. He's sobbing. I said, John, do you want to talk about what's just happened? No. But I'll be back next week.
Wow.
So I've tried to follow up, with him. I don't know that he has the words to express what happened to him that day. I don't know that he's really been saved at this point, but God is definitely doing something in this young man, and he has been back almost every week since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you going.
And that's the thing that, I think we have a misconception that people are going to hear about Jesus. They're immediately going to make a decision. They're immediately going to change. But it's not like that.
It's not like that.
In the quote unquote real world.
Yes.
When you're out with people who have had hard lives, what some would consider messy.
Yes.
It's a process.
It is. And it's a marathon. It is not
I
a
was
sprint.
going to say, it is not a sprint. And that's why in these communities, relationship
Yes.
is so important. And it mirrors that relationship that Jesus has with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to remind our volunteers, because we all, most of us have been raised in church and been in church most of our lives. And, we want to see a big crowd, or we want to see a full classroom of ELL students. But it really is, and this is our kind of impact statement, that we are trying to impact one life at a time. And it's about one relationship. If you've got one kid coming to your Bible club, if you've got one student coming to ELL, if you've got, one person coming to a ladies' Bible study, that's what it's about. Because you're going to go deeper, and it's, it's hard for people who haven't grown up in church, who haven't grown up hearing about God their whole life, to process and to understand and to change and to move in a different direction. It takes time and investment.
It is.
It really does.
Well, and I think, that one person is an image bearer.
Absolutely.
And their life is just as important as anyone else's life.
Absolutely.
And you really see that in Scripture.
Yes.
Honestly, Jesus, I think of that passage in the Gospels where Jesus tells them a hard truth and everybody leaves.
Yes.
And he's left with a small group of people.
Exactly.
And he says, "Are you going to leave me too?"
Yes.
But they say, "No, you are the one that has the words of life." And so we see it over and over in Scripture. It's not, there are a lot more stories of a few small people.
Amen. Yes.
Groups of people following. Then we see, like, on the day of Pentecost, and 3,000 people were added to the church. That just doesn't.
Yes.
But we expect, and we know that God works in these huge ways. But I think this is what I've been talking about with several people lately, that remembering that God is working in all ways, and do not overlook what we consider, unfortunately, as the small ways.
Exactly.
Because he still has control over that, and he's working. And that may be small to us, but when you think about that as a person's life who has changed, and the ripple effect of
That's
what's going to
exactly
happen.
what I was about to say. Because this young man, if he comes to know the Lord, the trajectory of his life is going to be different than what he grew up in.
Yeah.
If
it's going to break generational sin.
And if a mother comes to know Christ, it's going to change how she parents. It's going to change how she talks to her kids about who God is.
Yeah.
It might not change their financial situation. It may not change, trauma that has happened in the past, but what hope she's going to have to walk this life out hand in hand with Christ, and to know that for eternity she's going to be with Christ, and her family will be, because of the change that she's made.
Yeah. And all the temporal things become far less important.
Exactly. And so, I love what I do. I love being with messy people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are real, and they still cuss in front of me, or they still...
And then they go, "Oops."
Yeah. Don't do that in front of the church lady. That's what I normally hear. But I'm like, hey, I love you how God's created you, but I love you enough that
I don't want you to stay that way.
I don't want you to stay that way.
Yeah.
I want to share that with you. Today, I'm Lord willing going to be talking to a lady about that very thing, just showing her the gospel, because I don't know that she's ever really understood the fullness of the gospel.
Yeah.
You know, and so doing a lunch today, just, you know, will she come to know Christ? I don't know, but I know that I have to be faithful
To plant the seed.
to plant that seed, and to know that I know if she died tomorrow, I know that she knew what the gospel was.
Yeah.
And really, you know, that's taken years to understand in walking with the Lord, is I am not responsible
Right.
for her
I
salvation.
think we feel that weight so much,
do.
and that isn't our
It's
responsibility.
not, but I am responsible to share it with her.
Right.
And the Lord's really been pressing that on me this past week, and so
Wow.
Lord
Well, that's
willing,
exciting.
today, that's, you know, she's going to have that seed, at least in the fullness.
Yeah.
You know,
And his word will not return without fulfilling his
exactly,
purpose.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
Of good, hard, but good
Mhm.
things.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad that we could sit down and talk about it.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. And like I said, that we scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because all of those things that you mentioned were just one day.
exactly.
And you work 5 days a week. I mean, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? It's like,
Yep.
it's not like I just work 1 day a week. So.
Yes. Exactly.
Wow.
And so there's just, you know, there's so many awesome things that God is doing, and we just want
People
you
to be a part
listeners
of it.
to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I will put in the show notes your email address.
Perfect.
If that's
Absolutely.
good with you. Your email address and the CedarBrook Outreach website.
Yep.
So that people can get in contact with you all.
Okay.
And yeah, be looking in the bulletin and in the e-news for
these
when we
upcoming
promote those
tours.
tours. I
Yeah.
think that's exciting.
It is. Yeah.
I want to go on a tour.
I've talked to Pastor Sam and about taking the missions team
Yeah,
out.
well, we should be on a tour.
So
Yeah.
we're taking you on the tour. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was like, "That's a great idea."
And if
So-
y'all keep hearing me snuffing, it's because she's had me crying like 4 or 5 times today. So I'm sorry. I can't stop crying, but I have tried to not ugly cry. But I knew this was going to be a great conversation, and I love sitting down to talk with you. But
Thanks.
I'm just excited about what God is doing in our community.
Yes.
And I mean, I see him moving in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thrilled that West Park gets to be a part of it.
Yes.
And
Amen.
cannot wait to see what he continues to do
Yeah.
and who gets involved.
Yeah.
And
Join us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Join us. There's lots of opportunities.
Yes.
Well, you know, this won't be the last time probably that
Nah.
you
We'll
sit
talk
down
again.
across from me in a microphone. So, but thanks for joining me today, Lisa. And thanks for
you're
sharing your
welcome.
heart
Thank you.
and just doing what God's asking you to do. Appreciate it.
Trying to be faithful.
Well, thanks. We will look forward to being with you all again soon.
Thank you for listening to Impact the World. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Just look for the profile West Park Baptist.